Jim, players can say this all day long. I'm sure all of us agree with Pete and what he's saying and his sentiment. So why do organizations continue to value the numbers and analytics so highly with who they hire and who they fire?
Well, you're looking for every little advantage that you can with the pitching, as good as it is right now. And I mean, you have multiple pitchers throwing 95 plus miles an hour with really sharp curveballs, consistent curveballs, sliders. And so you're trying to find what's the best pathway and how much information can you give to a hitter. And you got a sense of what Pete, it can get really confusing. Hey, first pitch fastball, two seamers, he throws 60% of the time, four seamers he throws up in the strike zone 20% of the time. And all of a sudden you're going through all these numbers in your head, and it can get paralysis by analysis, which I said over the weekend. This is what the club looked like they were going through right now. They looked like they had all of this information, expecting certain things, and they're taking fastballs right down the middle instead of looking fastball and reacting off of that. So there's a fine line with all of this. And a lot of times it's in how it is packaged to the individual player. Some players like it, and some players don't want any part of it. And I think that's where we are with today's hitting coaches and pitching coaches.
Jim's exactly right. And when you're talking about this stuff as a player, when people are talking to you, they're giving you this information. I remember as a catcher or as a hitter, either way, I was getting a lot of information on both sides. And it wasn't necessarily, okay, how do I take all this information and use it all? No, it was sift through it and find the stuff that I know is going to help me, that I can use out there on the field, that I can actually comprehend and manage out there on the field. Now, what Pete was talking about, it sounds to me like, if he's thinking about these numbers, he's done. Well, of course he is. You can't be thinking about those numbers when you're out there on the field. You need a broader, and when I say broader, almost just much more simplified version of an approach. We heard Jim say that word a bunch earlier in this, in this show. That approach has to be honed in to a very simplistic, version that a hitter can go up there and understand what his plan is that day against that pitcher. It doesn't need to be every pitch of every at-bat for every guy, but you do need to have an approach. You do need to have a plan. And I think there is a place in the game for these numbers. I think it's great for the players to have this information. I loved it when I had it. It's just whether or not you can actually use it to your advantage.